Hi everyone, just let's give a few more minutes.
Morning. Not gonna lie, was a nice surprise to see this meeting moving in the morning time.
All right, it's 2 minutes past and there's quite a lot of people already joined, so let's get started. Welcome everybody to the first APAC friendly SIG MC call. And on the agenda today, we have 2 topics so far, but we can add things as we go. So I'm really sorry, I'm probably going to mispronounce things, but Jean, do you want to cover your
Yes.
points?
So today I have 2 topics. One is about the MCS API. So, of course, we discussed that service import API for a while, even in the PI itself and also in the Slack. So, but I think we still did not get to the agreements. That's why I also want to bring it up and also want to collect more feedbacks from other companies and or other consumers. So, cause this is the first APAC meeting, I would also like to call for more people to look at what we proposed. Basically, we would like to. There are 2 options: either we put into the root, or we still keep the spec and the status. So yeah, I want to bring it up to see is there any other opinions around this design.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Arthur gave a presentation about this in a recent SIG call, so the recording should be available on YouTube, but the slides are linked from the issue and they're very detailed. So yeah, like you said, the question is really, do we keep the current spec status split, maybe remove some fields from spec or move them into status, and at least clarify who's supposed to update what, or do we just move everything into root and consider that the whole object is only ever a status object? And so Arthur's presentation covers some scenarios that would sort of suggest that moving everything to root could cause problems, and that, at least from my perspective, that's the main question. Are there scenarios that wouldn't be possible if we move everything into root? In other words, well, I added a comment just a few minutes ago. If we drop the spec status distinction, are there things that wouldn't be possible? And so Arthur listed a few projects that he's explicitly looking for feedback from. And so in particular, there's Karmada and Alibaba. So I guess this call would have people maybe from those projects. But the point isn't necessarily to discuss it in the call today, but to make sure that people are aware of the issue and add feedback to it.
Yeah. Also, another another topic I would like to bring up is I see the conference test for the service type actually is has no activities for a while. So we only have the test for the one service type. I've got exactly the type. So, but for the other two, we don't have the test yet. So I just wondering, do people still working on that? If not, I actually can help on this to adding the tests to push the progress.
Yeah, well, yeah, any help is welcome on this. So
Okay, sure.
feel
Yeah, I
free.
will.
If you add a comment to the issue and say that you're working on one or both of the missing types.
Okay,
That way
probably I
we'll
will
know.
do one by one. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Thanks.
Okay.
And
Sure,
yeah, so somebody added an interest. Yeah, something I meant to do but forgot. Just a round of introductions because some of the people here are well, often attend the Tuesday call, but not everybody. So I'll start things off, and then people can just if you want to introduce yourself, then do so. But if you're not comfortable doing that, then feel free to just skip. So I'm Stephen Kitt. I work at Red Hat on multi-cluster in general. And I'm one of the SIG co-chairs with Jeremy Thompson. So Jeremy is based on the west coast of the US, so he can't reasonably participate in these calls, but I'm based in Europe, so it's easy enough for me. Yeah, so feel free if anybody else wants to.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. I'm Hong Kai. I'm joining the meeting from my PC, so I don't have a camera here. So
yeah, that's fine.
So very glad to meet you all here. And I'm the maintainer of a Commander project. So I think that the meeting time is good for me or for people in China or Asia. So thank you for make this happen.
Cool.
I'll go.
I can go next.
Oh, yes. After you then.
Sorry. So I'm MJ. I'm quite new to SIG multicluster, not new to multicluster itself. We've been proof of concepting multicluster runtime now under SIG multicluster umbrella project. And I've been struggling with evening meetings to join them. This one is a nice addition now, so I hope I can attend these more. And I'm doing between gigs now, and I hope my next gig will allow me to do more multi-cluster related things. So if you have any questions on the multi-cluster runtime, basically I will post a link in GitHub for the people who are not aware of. And I'm looking to you people from Karmada, because I think it would be nice to hear your feedback on this. Let me know. I'm here to answer questions.
Sure, I'll jump in now. Thank you, MJ. I'm August Simonelli. I work for Red Hat. But I'm a product manager. I'm not an engineer or a developer or anything. So I come with a journalism degree. So I'm learning a lot from the engineering teams and really enjoying that. Used to work with OpenStack and all that. So I think maybe I'm a little bit of a fish out of water here, but I really enjoy hearing the conversations and how we go from, code to something people use. I find that really exciting, as I have been at Red Hat for 12 years. So yeah, that's me. I'm in Sydney. So just yeah, love the timing on this. Cannot make the other meeting. It's too late. So thank you for making this happen, and I hope to have more involvement as we go. So thank you.
Maybe I can go next. Hello everyone. My name is Jean. I'm from Microsoft. Also, I'm based in Shanghai, China. So as people said, the other meeting won't work for me because it will be too late. So really happy to see this APAC meeting happen. So yeah, nice to meet you all, and hope we can work together.
I can do the next. Hi, I'm Qiu Jian, and I'm from Red Hat. I live in Xi'an, China. It's quite exciting to have this meeting because I think we have a lot of interesting topic that recently happens in the SIG multi-cluster, and this is a really great addition to the one which are more appropriate for the US and Europe. So great to see everyone here.
I'll go next. Hi, I'm Vishal Thapar. I work with Red Hat and I work out of Bangalore, India. So this time zone is very helpful. I work on the project Submariner, which was one of the earlier multi-cluster SIG API implementations. I've been working on it for almost 5 to 6 years now, since inception. And it's good to have this call at this time zone because it will allow me to, work with you all and contribute to the multi-cluster SIG a lot more going into the future. Nice to see you all.
Yeah, I can go next. Hello, everyone. I'm Zhu Jian. I live in Xi'an, China, and I'm a maintainer of open class management. And thanks for organizing this APAC friendly meeting. And good to see you guys. Yeah, hope we can learn from each other in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I will be the next. Hello everyone, I'm Hao Qing. I'm also from Red Hat, and I'm also the maintainer of OCM, and also the CNCF ambassador from this year. And I have used the cluster profile, and I also noticed there is recently a discussion around the placement. So I'm interested in the SIG multi-cluster, and really happy to meet everyone. And that's all for me.
Hello. Probably I can introduce myself. I'm Ryan, and I work for Microsoft. I'm also actually I'm based in the West Coast, so this is barely makeable for me. But I'm also excited to have this time because we actually have a kind of unofficial meeting with children and other guys in the China or APAC friendly time. So it's good now we have a more official multi-cluster SIG meeting. So I'm also very excited for that. And have more official or discussions with more community involvement here. So it's nice to meet everybody. That's pretty much. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, so it's great really to see this many people, and I hope we continue having good conversations here. So Ryan, you've got you've got the next topic on the agenda.
Yeah, so next one is the cluster profile credential. We actually on the Slack channel we had a few discussion with current one. I think Trojan and probably other OCM maintainers had a very good ideas with this library plugin thing. But I'm a little bit I didn't follow the exact conversation. There's some confusion or some discussion about plugin versus executable. Maybe we could discuss this a little bit here. I think let me look at the latest Slack discussion. I saw something. Maybe Children, you can give us some background in the meantime.
Oh yeah, so I think that's the background is that we have the cluster profile API and we we want to have the capability that based on the cluster profile, the consumer, for example, the controller, is able to get the credential to access the cluster. So, but the different way, it will be different from different providers. For example, the GKE, AKS, EKS, or other clusters will have the different way of getting the credential. So the original idea is maybe I can share my screen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. You can share your PR, your cap, because your PR kind of really blocked a lot of scenarios. But seems like Quarantine has some. This time is a little bit some different idea. I didn't fully get what's the exact idea there. Maybe yeah, again, you can share your screen. We can have a
Yeah,
discussion.
so the idea is that we could have uh, exposed public method, which is called build config from the cluster profile, and then which will return a REST config, and using this REST config, you can connect to the targeted cluster. And to achieve that in the cluster profile tabs, we have a credential provider. We add a field called credential providers. That is similar as what um, Quentin's cap described. And in that, there is a name of the providers, there is a config. The config will more like um, the very customized configurations that for different providers. Um, so so this is the exposed interface, and what happens is that in the cluster profile, we know that which provider has provided the credentials, and then each provider will need to implement an interface, and the interface is it need to provide the name of the provider and the credential of the provider. The credential is finally the input is a cluster profile, and the output is the execute credential. Execute credential is in this it's mainly the token of the client cert or client key in the structure. Um, so I think that's the main idea. I think what we have now discussed is so
Just before that, how do you convert? You must have the code. Last time I saw that it's a little bit different. So how do you convert from the execute credential to that rest.config? Eventually, we want the rest.config, right? So there's somewhere must be a way to convert that.
so yes, it's in this one. So actually the execute credential we have a authenticator authenticator we will new authenticator. The authenticator is similar as something that is here. I cannot directly use this one because we need to inject the interface, the plugin interface into the code. But the authenticator will have the cache about the credential, and then the authenticator will call the plugin to get the credential, and then we will directly change the transport config in the REST config. So the REST config is at first construct as here, and then we get the transport config from the REST config, then set and call let the authenticator to update the transport config as long, for example, when the token is expired or something happens. That's idea. The part that we are not clear right now is so I have two implementations. One is based on SPIFFE. So SPIFFE is like a zero trust authenticator that you can deploy it among multiple clusters. So the idea here is that if you have a SPIFFE setup, spiral setup between the clusters, you were able to use this plugin. And this is a whole encode plugin. Like you need to, for example, if you use this plugin, you need to also import the SPIFFE workload in the. So for example, if Argo is using this library, the SPIFFE workload will also SPIFFE library will also be added into the Argos implementation, Argos code. But there is another one implementation is about execute, which means that if there is a user have a binary, for example, the kubelogin or some GKE command line that can directly call their endpoint to switch the credential back, they can use this plugin. So it will call a binary with some argument. It is just the same as the execute providers in the kube config. So I think what Carlton meant is that he think we should only support execute. He think letting the other project to import additional library seems a burden for adopting this library, and execute will not have those dependency.
Execute. I thought execute actually is more burdensome. How does the controller import and execute? By execute, you mean a binary, right?
Yes. So for example, you need to rebuild the image, or they need to somehow copy the binary into the running container that to run that binary. Another possible way that I saw in the multiple cluster controller runtime is they also have a providers library, and each one have separated dApps. Like for kind, have a different types with a copy. That's another option that we could.
Yeah, it's good thing that MJ is here. Sorry, maybe I butchered your name. Madrina, that's sorry. You're here, right? So
MJ is fine.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you can also take a look at this. See, because last time, in our previous US time meeting, there's also another multi-cluster runtime guy come here. We asked them basically we want cluster profile being the only or de facto providers instead of other provider. Cluster profile should be the provider. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can take a look and see if how does this work with the multi-cluster runtime, make cluster profile as your provider. Because last time I saw that the Trojan's implementation, I had a better idea. This time now it changed this code. It changed the output to be this execute one. I haven't looked at the details yet. I'm a little bit confused. Probably need some time to understand this more.
Yeah, well, for a little more context, maybe the idea behind the exec thing is really to match what's possible with kubeconfig and the exec authenticators. So in kubeconfig you can just tell
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
you can
there's
point to an
exec-
executable, and that way code that doesn't know about GKE or Azure or whatever can, without needing to be rebuilt, it can run and use the specific authenticator. And in terms of deployment, it's not too complicated because you can take a container image and just add a binary to it and build a new container image. So it's not great, but it's not too complicated, but there are issues with it. So for example, like MJ says in the chat there, in more and more setups, containers are configured so that they can't start new processes. So that the only process that can run is the initial process, the entry point. And that ensures that security holes don't lead to remote code executions, for example, but it also means that you can't use external authenticators. The other concern that was raised in the bug, on KEP 5339, is that there's no, and so I guess, well, Spiffy could help resolve this, but there's no way for the code that's invoking the exec to be sure that the binary that it's actually running is the binary that the administrator intends to run. So Spiffy Spire could fix that. So that's for the exec side of things. The plugin side of things, what's complicated there is that unless you jump through lots and lots of hoops, you really need to rebuild. Well, at least if you're using Go, you need to rebuild everything to be able to use a new provider.
Yeah.
And so, well, just for reference as well, Kubernetes used to have a bunch of cloud provider auths as plugins, and they were all
move out.
deprecated a while back and then moved out. And so there's a bunch of stub code in Kubernetes now, so that all the external code that relies on importing these auth cloud providers this cloud provider auths can still build, but it doesn't actually do anything. So
just me replay this a bit. So the main limitation is that kubectl exec authentication plugin is built predominantly on CLI interactions, basically on exec. Hence, we need this to support different type of funky authentication methods some cloud provider might come up with. That.
Yeah, well, the requirement is to have well, let's say you're developing Argo CD, for example. You add cluster profile credential support. You don't want to have to rebuild Argo CD to be able to use a new cloud provider. And having the exec thing deals with that.
Yeah.
Making it a plugin doesn't. And so just to go on, to continue the conversation to where I can't remember who it was asking you for input, is that if we get this right on the cluster profile side of things in SIG-MC, then it should be possible to just write a multi-cluster runtime provider that uses this mechanism, whether it relies on plugins or exec. And then multi-cluster runtime would have a cluster profile provider, and that would deal with all it could replace all the providers that are currently in, well, there aren't all that many, but the providers that are being added to multi-cluster runtime.
Mm-hmm. So I will have to drop off because I still didn't manage to reshuffle my other meetings, but
Yeah, no
I will
worries.
try to look into this basically. I think, like as we discussed before and Marvin was in the last call, I think there is value in trying to merge these two projects together, basically create a provider for multi-cluster.
Yeah.
And basically, so leave it for me. I will try to find some time to experiment around this in the next few weeks.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah. And it's also starting a trend that we've heard people asking for, which is for SIG-MC to provide library code for some important pieces. So I guess hosting multi-cluster runtime is part of that, and this is also part of that. And I think it's something that we need to pursue further in other areas.
Cool. I will take an arrow to the knee on this one for now. Okay. I have to drop off.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, and yeah, I think this one I want to share. I will stop.
Yeah, well, so Trujin, I'm curious on your thoughts on the topic though, since you actually wrote code that does the plugin side of things. Have you looked into possible solutions for deployment, or is it just rebuild to add a new provider?
I think either way is fine. I think, but I was concerned about that we only support the execute approach. I need to discuss with Curtin more. I think someone might want to, like the concern that you said about forking a child process is not a security things, and someone might want to, some implementations might want to have in-process implementation rather than execute. I just do not want.
To allow both. I get that. So that was one of the counter arguments that I think Cornton gave was that if we support exec, then anything can be implemented. You could have a plugin like this that's also made available as an exec, but that works both ways. We could even just say we only support plugin, and there could be an exec plugin for scenarios where that's acceptable. And if it's all written in Go anyway, then writing an authenticator that's available as a plugin and with an exec wrapper that's just drives the plugin should be simple enough as well. I think it's more about trying to figure out what the constraints are in both cases, and maybe estimate the cost of supporting both. I don't think it's huge. Maybe that's a solution as well.
Yeah, I would at least from what I think now, maybe we can hopefully be flexible to support both would be good. And seems like supporting both it's not super different, right? Library versus execute. It's not always it's not super mutually exclusive.
No, it's not.
Then feels like it would be great if we can support more flexible ones. Okay, so then at least now we have the kind of consensus here, so we can.
I'll add some notes to the issue itself, and we can see MJ's feedback when he gets around to trying it out.
Cool.
Trujin, is your PR linked from the issue?
No, no, not yet. I will link to the issue.
All right, thanks.
Just a quick question. Anyone here plan to the KubeCon China next week?
I have a session. It's actually related to this topic. We will be presenting. Kind of like a demo on how to achieve multi-cluster authentication using the pattern the work group has already established. It will be something based on Trujin's PR actually.
All right, this should be great.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm the co-speaker of the change topic. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I will go to Hong Kong next week too. So glad to meet you there.
Cool.
Yeah, I also have a topic about the multi-cluster scheduling. And OCM will have a Qst. Feel free to say hello to us at our Qst.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks. So I think, does anybody else have anything else to discuss? If not, thank you everyone for joining. And so these calls are scheduled bi-weekly for now. We'll see how that works out in terms of a rhythm. But yeah, thanks for attending and the interesting discussions. And I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Have a good rest of the day.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.